From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Amarachi Ubani.
Tonight, President Muhammadu Buhari to attend APC National Executive Committee meeting called by Acting National Chairman Victor Gadom tomorrow. Court strikes out suit seeking to stop Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki from participating in tomorrow's governorship primary as parties agreed to out-of-court settlement. Federal Executive Council approves 2.3 trillion naira stimulus plan to support the Nigerian economy in the face of the disruptions and challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. And U.S. states of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut ask visitors from COVID-19 hotspots in the country to quarantine for 14 days before getting access. Plus, news from Abuja, business news, the FCT, and later from our studios in London.
On business news tonight, African Development Bank gets another positive rating, ranks 4th out of 47 development institutions on Global Index of Transparency.
On sports news tonight, the coronavirus pandemic continues to disrupt the 2020 sports calendar as organizers cancel New York City and Berlin marathons.
And from Abuja, about 200 Nigerians stranded in South Africa since March due to COVID-19 to return home tomorrow.
A federal high court in Port Harcourt has struck out a suit seeking to bar Governor Godwin Obaseki from participating in the Edo PDP governorship primary as parties agreed to an out-of-court settlement. One of the aspirants, Omorege Ogbede Ihama, had approached the court seeking to bar Edo Governor, Mr. Obaseki, from participating in the PDP primaries. The court's decision followed an application for withdrawal of the suit filed by counsel to the plaintiff and supported by counsels to all 9 defendants. The presiding judge, Emmanuel Obile, had earlier granted an application to stand down the matter to enable all counsel reach an out-of-court settlement.
One of the aspirants came here and got an order. But because it's a family thing, family sat down 12 last night, and by the early hours of this morning, we came to an understanding that the party must remain united. And the plaintiff in the matter, in the interest of the party, as a faithful party man, has agreed to withdraw the case from court. So what that means is that Governor Obaseki, who joined our party last week, is going to be an aspirant in tomorrow's party primaries for the governorship nomination in Edo State.
It does appear the leadership crisis in the All Progressives Congress may be straightening itself out as President Muhammadu Buhari will be participating in the National Executive Committee meeting of the APC scheduled for tomorrow, Thursday, 25th. The meeting, called by the acting national chairman of the party, Mr. Victor Gadom, will be held virtually in line with the guidelines to curb the spread of COVID-19. Our correspondent, Shewa Kimaloye, examines the APC leadership controversy ahead of the meeting.
The All Progressives Congress APC leadership crisis has indeed reached a fever pitch. The national chairman, Adams Oshomole, ousted after his suspension was upheld by the appeal court. The party's deputy national secretary, Victor Gadom, is laying claims to APC's highest leadership position, arming himself with a court order that affirms him to act as a national chairman and preside over all its meetings.
Considering the fact that we cannot allow for a vacuum, I most humbly inform you that I have assumed office as the national chairman of our great party in compliance with the order of the court.
This has since triggered a back-and-forth argument with the other faction backed by the party's National Working Committee, who are insisting that Mr. Giadam's position is not recognized, and rather, the new team led by Mr. Hilliard Etta in Senator Ajimobi's absence should take position and call the shots.
WC reaffirms His Excellency Chief Ajimobi, the Deputy National Chairman South, as the acting national chairman of the party.
Then follows different court orders and a battle of wits to know who rightly leads the ruling party. Mr. Shomale's ward back at home has become another political battlefield. Some say he has since been reabsorbed back into the party.
Hereby lift the suspension process on Comrade Adams Aliyu Oshomole by the word.
And the other insists he stands suspended.
Now, that news is fake. I never lift that suspension until we all met together to lift that suspension.
Some party members are worried and are calling for an emergency National Executive Committee meeting of the party to resolve the issues.
The party must, as a matter of urgency, call for an emergency NEC meeting.
We must not allow the situation to continue as it is today, because the stability of APC is the stability of Nigeria.
The long silence from President Muhammadu Buhari seemed not to have helped the matter after all. But that changed today with a major reaction from the president's aide, Mr. Garba Shehu, via his Twitter handle. The tweet confirms that President Muhammadu Buhari will be attending the NEC meeting called by Mr. Giadam after receiving convincing advice by his lawyers on the position of law, and he has determined that the law is on the side of Victor Giadam as acting national chairman. The president, Muhammadu Buhari, will attend the meeting. That appears to be a sure thing. But will the Thursday meeting put to bed the party's lingering political migraine? I guess that's a question that forum may well answer. Shonwa Kimbaloye, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, the stage is set for the People's Democratic Party to choose who will fly its flag at the September 19 governorship election in Edo State. Ahead of the PDP governorship primary elections in the state, the police, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and the party have all confirmed that all necessary arrangements have been put in place for a hitch-free exercise.
Serious security scrutiny at the entrance of the Samuel Obemudia Stadium, where the Edo PDP governorship primary is built to hold in a matter of hours. Inside the main bowl of the stadium, final preparations are ongoing, with more security operatives manning strategic corners of the facility. Dr. Tony Aziegbemi, the man at the helm of affairs in Edo State, says his party is ready to go.
Preparations are in top gear. Committees are at work. We set up different committees to handle different aspects of the primaries. We're good. We're very good, and members of the PDP are in high spirits. We're happy to be there on Thursday to elect a governorship candidate that will continue our continuous stay in Osadebe Avenue.
INEC on its part says it's ready to observe the process, but maintains its readiness to ensure that the process is in conformity with the NCDC protocols on COVID-19.
They've written before, and we are in constant touch with them. And of course, the primaries is coming up tomorrow, and our officers are set to go and monitor them. Even though PDP own is indirect, people will be gathered. Of course, we expect everybody to wear face masks and to also maintain some level of physical distance, at least 2 meters.
As far as security is concerned, the police believe there is no reason to fret.
The Edo State Police Command is fully prepared and ready, collaborating with other sister security agencies. We are equally working with the internal department of the state, Edo State, and that is the POF.
With these nods given by key stakeholders for the Edo PDP primaries to hold, the expectation is that the main exercise will be hitch-free.
Staying with politics, a contestant whom the African Action Congress describes as a philanthropist and human rights activist, Edith Isokpan, has emerged as the party's candidate for the Edo State governorship election. At the AAC primary election held in Benin City, the Edo State capital, Ms. Isokpan garnered 162 votes to defeat her co-contestant, Oyi Osunde, who had 12 votes out of the 179 cast by delegates accredited to vote. Our correspondent Jessica Olubosere has more.
Security operatives are present as about 200 delegates of the African Action Congress, AAC, at the tennis court of the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in Benin City, the Edo State capital, awaits the commencement of the party's primary to pick a candidate for the Edo 2020 governorship election. The INEC resident electoral commissioner and other officials are also present.
Primary elections.
The two aspirants, Edith Isokpan and Oyi Osunde, are given the chance to address the delegates briefly.
We will take the mantle of leadership.
There is a treasure in the mantle of a python, and the only one that can retrieve it is me that is standing before you.
Voting subsequently commences. Sorting of ballots takes place after. The counting of ballots elicits excitement from the crowd of delegates. The winner is announced.
I'm very much prepared. It's God that sent me. I'm not selling the ticket to any party. So I'm a woman of integrity. I'm out to save. I'm out to help my people to get back their treasure.
The state's chairman of the party is satisfied with the entire process, even as the former aspirant pledges continued support for the AAC.
We from the African Action Congress, we like due processes, and this is what we've come to display here today.
Yeah, this is politics. Anything is possible in politics. So she did her homework. She had the support of the greater delegates, and she won. So it's politics, no hard feelings about it.
The AAC also believes that having a female as its candidate shows the inclusiveness and equality it promotes, confident that she would fly the party's flag well in the state. Jessica Olubosere, Channels Television News.
And in Ondo State, the Deputy Governor, Agbola Ajayi, has accused the Commissioner of Police of withdrawing the detachment of police security assigned to him. The Deputy Governor's Special Advisor, Alan Shore, told Channels Television in Akure, the state capital, that the policemen were directed to leave their duty post, exposing the Deputy Governor to security threats. He maintained that the Deputy Governor has the legal right of access to police security as he's still in office. But the spokesperson of the Ondo State Police Command, T. Leo Ikoro, describes the allegation as false and baseless, insisting that the drafting of police security to Government House is not even done by the Commissioner of Police. In part two, after the break, Imo State government to prosecute those who breach COVID-19 guidelines following recent surge in the number of cases. Plus, Ghanaian authorities will arraign 2 suspects allegedly involved in the demolition of the Nigerian High Commission in Ghana. Join us again. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. President Muhammadu Buhari to attend APC governorship National Executive Committee meeting called by Mr. Gyadom tomorrow. A court strikes out suit seeking to stop Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki from participating in tomorrow's governorship primary as parties agree to out-of-court settlement. Federal Executive Council approves 2.3 trillion naira stimulus plan to support the Nigerian economy in the face of disruptions and challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. While U.S. states of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut ask visitors from COVID-19 hotspots in the country to quarantine for 14 days before getting access. Our website, channelstv.com, has more information on our top stories and others. Subscribe and watch Channels Television's live stream on YouTube and other social media platforms using your mobile device browser, or download the Channels TV app for Android and iOS devices from their respective stores. You can also watch us via smart TV platforms on Apple TV, Android TV, Fire TV, and Roku. The Federal Executive Council has approved the Nigeria Economic Sustainability Plan recommended by the committee headed by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. It contains a 2.3 trillion naira stimulus plan aimed at combating the disruptions on Nigeria's economy as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is just one out of many resolutions reached at the virtual meeting, which held at the Presidential Villa, chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari. Our State House correspondent, Kayla Megwa, reports.
The virtual Federal Executive Council meeting lasted over 8 hours. Understandably so, as the country is dealing with a lot of pending issues, including the Economic Sustainability Plan in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has been presented to the President for approval.
The total package that we presented today is in the sum of 2.3 trillion naira. 500 billion of this 2.3 trillion is a stimulus package that is already provided for in the amended 2020 Appropriation Act. So these are funds that we have sourced locally from special accounts. We also have 1.2 trillion of these funds to be sourced as structured low-cost loans.
7 road projects were also awarded by the Council worth 122.8 billion naira, creating employment for 2,564 Nigerians.
The roads approved were Akure to Ado-Ekiti Road, Ukana Akpuatong Ikot Ntwe Road in Akwa Ibom State, Iluke Ayetoro Kiriabugi Egon Road in Kogi State, Odono Elewe Idiayinre Mamu Ogun State border in Oyo State, Tamawa Gulu Road in Kanu, Potiskum Fika Bajoga Gombe Road linking Yobe and Gombe states, and Kachako Dambazao Road in Kano State.
Nigeria has finally joined the rest of the world in treating sports as a business and not a recreational activity.
We're close to delivering the first ever national sports industry policy. That is a policy that has a business model around sports, that can create jobs for the mass of our youth, that can put value on our athletes from this country.
A blight on Nigeria's reputation around the world is the non-implementation of the Child Rights Act and the Violence Against Persons Act in many states in the country. While the Minister of Women Affairs says all her ministry can do is appeal to the governors of those states, she says there will be no more settlement out of court for rape cases.
We are ready to prosecute and deal with any parent that tries to manipulate or request for a out-of-court this thing. And we are working closely with the Inspector General of Police and NAPTIPs. We don't support any out-of-court case of rape because a raper is a killer.
With a 2.3 trillion naira stimulus package, road constructions that double as employment opportunities for over 2,500 Nigerians, among other approvals gotten today, it is hoped that sustained drives such as these ones translate to a visibly better life for Nigerians. Kayla Megwa, Channels Television News.
Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State has vowed to arrest and prosecute anyone found flouting the protocols and guidelines on the temporary easing of lockdown in the state. While briefing journalists at Government House, Owerri, the Imo State capital, the governor explained that the action was necessary following the recent surge in the number of COVID-19 cases in the state. He says it is regrettable that some indigents still do not believe in the reality and existence of the coronavirus disease.
However, very sad to note that many of our people do not observe any of the safety protocols. People move about without face masks. More than 50 people gather in public places, contrary to the laid-down rules, and worse still, without face masks. This show of reckless abandon is mainly due to the fact that many of our people do not believe that coronavirus is real. I must make it clear that all safety measures must be adhered to. Henceforth, any person or group of persons caught in breach of any of the safety measures will be promptly arrested and prosecuted by the mobile court. Security agencies have been charged to be on the lookout for those refusing to observe social distancing or to wear face masks, all of which are compulsory by law. Such people will be prosecuted promptly by the mobile court.
Meanwhile, a 5-year-old boy is among the newly confirmed positive cases of COVID-19 in Niger State. In the official report released by the State Task Force on COVID-19 today, 3 other children aged 8, 12 and 15 are also confirmed positive. All of the 13 new cases are said to be from Chachanga local government area of the state. The new figure is the highest daily confirmed cases from the state since the outbreak of the pandemic. The chairman of the state's COVID-19 task force, Ibrahim Matane, has however affirmed the state's determination to curtail spread of the pandemic. And in the southwest, 3 members of the Oyo State Executive Council have tested positive for the coronavirus. Governor Seyi Makinde announced this in a tweet after the state government received confirmation tests for all members of the state exco. The governor confirmed the 3 tests came back positive, while 2 were inconclusive and would need to be retested. He called for prayers for the officials while wishing them speedy recovery. Let's go to Linda Kigwe now in Abuja for more on the news at 10.
Hello, Amarachi. Now, staying with the COVID-19 pandemic, in Taraba State, Governor Darius Ishaku is appealing to the federal government to establish at least 1 testing center for coronavirus in the state to sufficiently ascertain carriers of the virus. He is of the opinion that the state not having an active case recorded since May 18th could be misleading because no one has come forward for sample collection and those that have been tested are found negative.
If I have a lab here and I test maybe 10,000 people, I'll be able to tell you, oh, 10,000, 10% of the cases are positive. So I will tell you that in Taraba, maybe there are 10%. But for now, we don't have a case. But that is full of question mark. It's not scientific. It's because nobody has come forward and because all those that we've tested have gotten negative. But the test has to go to Abuja. It takes a long while to come back. I'm pleading that the federal government should help us. Let's have a center in Taraba. I think we need to do a lot more to reduce the rate of infection.
All members of the Kaduna State House of Assembly and staff are to undergo a compulsory coronavirus test with immediate effect. This according to a directive by the Speaker of the Assembly, Mr. Yusuf Zailani, after a staff of the Assembly tested positive for the deadly virus. The deputy chairman of the House Committee on Health, Ali Khalat, who briefed journalists on behalf of the Speaker, said the compulsory test is to ensure that none of the other members and workers are infected. In the meantime, the Benue State Action Committee on COVID-19 has denied the coronavirus death of a patient at one of its facilities. According to the chairman of the committee, Mr. Benson Abonu, the victim underwent surgery for leukemia but started coughing 3 days before his death as his sample was taken to Abuja for testing. Mr. Abonu says the test result came back positive after the patient died on Monday morning, making it difficult to tell the actual cause of death. Away from the COVID-19 pandemic, internally displaced persons in Bakassi local government area of Cross River State have finally relocated to their new homes away from the block of classrooms where they have lived for 7 years. The Cross River State Governor, Professor Ben Ayade, had handed over 52 units of 2-bedroom apartments to the displaced persons on May the 29th. Speaking at the new settlement in Ifeang Ayong, the new homeowners say they are beginning to pick up their lives with renewed hope.
Your problem is my problem. The primary person who you should cry to is me, and I'm here, and I've seen it in person. We will solve the problem.
Finally, the promises become reality for the displaced Bakassi people who have now relocated to a new housing estate, a reprieve to the refugees who have lived in terrible conditions for years. In less than a month after the handing over of the housing units, the refugees have since settled in and are gradually getting their lives back to normal. Although the returnees say the state government is doing all within its powers to ensure the refugees are comfortable, they are appealing to the federal government for more assistance.
In the past month, in fact, I was not happy because where we were was too bad. In fact, the condition there was so critical. So for now, you can see me standing right in front of my building that has been handed over to me. And you can see my family too inside the house, so I'm very, very happy.
We appreciate our governor that is having stored our dignity. We request much several times that we plead our presidency look into the Bakassi issue. Resettle us. Since the entire Bakassi people saying that we need that peace to reign for entire Nigeria.
The realization of the social housing project is a welcome development.
He has taken people who have suffered for over 8 years lying on the floor with no roof over their heads. And he's taking them out of there, he's accommodating them. He's totally devoid of ethnicity or religious or whatever leaning.
The new house owners are happy to be given a chance to start a better life as they hope for a permanent resettlement to their home communities in the future.
We'll bring you more stories from Abuja when the news at 10 returns. Plus, African Development Bank gets another positive rating, ranks 4th out of 47 development institutions on the Global Index of Transparency. That's in Business News. Join us again. You're welcome back to the news at 10, coming to you live from Abuja. The House of Representatives Committee on Public Accounts is summoning the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Agriculture to appear before it on Thursday, June the 25th. According to the committee chairman, Oluwole Oke, the Permanent Secretary had failed to honor an earlier invitation to defend the query of the Auditor General of the Federation. He says there are issues raised by the Auditor General over the finances of the ministry which must be addressed.
PS refused to turn up. The head of service should take note of this. The best Mr. President can do for any citizen in this country is to saddle an individual, such persons, with an opportunity to be of service in this country. Mr. President will not do that job for the person. So to invite a permanent secretary to come and appear and defend auditors' queries And for such citizen to ignore the invitation of the parliament is an indication that such a person is incompetent to man such office. The permanent secretary of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture should cause appearance unfailingly tomorrow by 11 a.m.
About 200 Nigerians stranded in South Africa since March will be evacuated on Thursday. The Consul General, Mr. Godwin Adama, who spoke to Channels Television in Johannesburg, gave details of the evacuation process.
We started the process of this arrangement with Air Peace and South African Airways, but of course, Air Peace is the one that came on well with us, and we have finalized the arrangement to repatriate Nigerians. And the flight is expected to be here tomorrow by 5:36 a.m. to depart from here by about 9:30. So we have made necessary arrangements for a meeting point to enable us convert them in line with the protocol of in line with the task force protocol for South African Transport Department. Okay. That they must be gathered. They will not want anybody to be gathered at the airport to start doing anything. So have a place where you can physically have contact with them before they go. As they go to the airport, no form of meeting is allowed. Anyone that is positive will not travel.
ISN, a leading supplier of medical diagnostic products and services in Nigeria, has instituted a scheme to recognize outstanding medical laboratory scientists in the country. Entry for the maiden edition of the award was officially launched today in Lagos. ISN Nigeria Limited also announced over 4.5 million naira cash prizes, equipment, funding, as well as capacity development programs for winners.
Medical laboratory scientists are among the frontline workers in the fight against COVID-19, as they are saddled with the responsibility of handling and testing patient samples. Because they do this quietly, it's easy to miss their contributions. It's for this reason that ISN has designed a project to recognize practicing licensed medical lab scientists across the country.
According to the leadership guru, Dale Carnegie, he says that people work for money, but they go the extra mile for recognition, praise, and rewards. It is on that premise that we are proud to introduce the ISN Medical Laboratory Scientist of the Year Award as a way of recognizing and rewarding the efforts of medical laboratory scientists across Nigeria.
With that pronouncement, entry for the award officially opens. The project consultant explains the procedure and scope of the award.
What we are promoting is quality laboratory diagnosis. So the commitment, so we have our indicators that we use to measure commitment to quality practices. And that's number one. And then number two is that the good standing with the Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria. So we are assessing that, how is a candidate, the participant in good standing with the Medical Laboratory Science Council of Nigeria. In addition to the prize we are giving to the winner, the institution, that is the hospital or the laboratory, where the winner is coming from, will receive instruments or reagents to the tune of 1 million naira.
Lab scientists are essential to medical practice, and ISN Medical identifies them as the unsung heroes.
You know, typically when there is a pandemic or a medical issue, people talk about the doctors and the nurses and perhaps the pharmacists, but very few people talk about the medical lab scientists. So we thought that this was a great time and opportunity to really celebrate the contributions of medical laboratory scientists to overall medical practice.
ISNmedical.com is the website provided for application for the ISN Medical Scientist of the Year Award. Entries will run from June 24th to August 22nd, while the presentation of prizes will be held in November 2020.
And that's all from Abuja. Back to you, Amarachi.
Thanks, Linda. And staying with court Well, do stay with court matters right now. The Lagos State government has arraigned 2 men for the murder of the Hungarian wife of the managing director of Maersk Nigeria Limited, Gildas Tohuo. The defendants, Olamilekon Oke and Akonde Adeyinka, appeared before the State High Court sitting in the Igboshire area of Lagos Island on an 8-count charge for conspiracy, murder, attempted murder, armed robbery and rape. They allegedly broke into flat 7A Lugan Avenue, Ikoyi, on December 8, 2019 at about 7:30 p.m. and killed 44-year-old Bernadette Tohuo by suffocating her to death with a small pillow. The accused persons also allegedly attempted to kill her husband by stabbing him severally in the neck, head and back with a knife. They're said to have stolen several properties, including local and foreign currencies, 2 iPhones and the couple's wedding rings. Olamilekon Oke was also charged with the rape of Bernadette. After the charges were read to them, they pleaded not guilty. Justice Nicola Clay thereafter adjourned trial to June 30 and July 1st. Military authorities say the Nigeria Air Force has attacked at least 10 locations of bandits and killed scores of them since the air component of Operation Hadirin Daji was launched on June 20th. The air interdiction operation, codenamed Wutandaji, was preceded by a massive deployment of additional air assets and ground support equipment by the Air Force to Katsina. Some of these significant airstrikes include those executed at Dutsen Asolo and Burning Kogo areas of Katsina State, as well as Dogogede's camp in Kwayanbana Forest of Zamfara State. A statement from the coordinator, Defense Media Operations, Major General John Enenche, confirms that an attack helicopter was destroyed one of the bandits' logistics hut in the Kwayanbana forest, while attack aircraft killed several bandits after hitting their hiding places at Burning Kogo. Meanwhile, the Nigeria Police Force has announced the bust of a three-member female arms smuggling syndicate with 818 rounds of ammunition hidden in a 25-kilogram bag of rice. Parading the suspects in Abuja, the Force Public Relations Officer, Mr. Frank Mba, says Eleanor Yowe, Favor Bello, and Priye Jime were arrested while attempting to transport the ammunition from Kano to Bayelsa State. He explained that luck ran out on the suspects when the bag was searched at a motor park in Kano.
In one of the most disturbing cases we have here, 3 women aged 30, 25 and 21 years respectively were arrested for a failed attempt to move a total of 818 rounds of live ammunition all the way from Kano to Bayelsa State. As a matter of fact, these women will be talking to you. Elena, who is 25 years, had on instruction of her husband, who is currently being detained by the Nigerian military, handed over a half bag of rice to Favor Bello, age 21, for onward transportation to Yenegua in Bayelsa State.
Staying with crime and criminality, but on an international scale, 2 persons have been charged following their arrest over the demolition of the Nigerian High Commission building in Accra, Ghana. According to a press release from the Criminal Investigation Department in that country, the suspects are charged with conspiracy to commit crime, namely unlawful entry and causing unlawful damage, contrary to the Criminal and Other Offences Act 1960. It says that the two suspects were arrested on Monday, June 22nd, and will be arraigned before a court of law. The president of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, yesterday formally apologized to President Muhammadu Buhari in a telephone call over the incident, promising full investigation into the matter. Business News is next. Here's Anne Mawodo.
Thank you, Amarachi. Hello and welcome to Business News. The African Development Bank, the AFDB, has been ranked 4th out of 47 global development institutions. The latest ranking carried out by ratings agency Publish What You Fund places the bank in the highest category of transparency, along with other world-class institutions like the World Bank, the Asian Development Bank, and the United Nations Development Programme. According to the CEO of the firm, Gary Foster, the ranking is based on several criteria, including finance and budgets, basic information data, organizational planning, and performance. And this follows a recent AAA and A1+ long and short-term rating by another ratings agency, S&P Global, which also gave a stable outlook for the bank. The International Monetary Fund, the IMF, says that sub-Saharan Africa's gross domestic product is expected to shrink by 3.2%, more than a previous estimated contraction of 1.6% this year due to the impact of the COVID-19. The fund, in its World Economic Outlook update released today, projects that Nigeria's economy will witness a significant contraction, with GDP seen falling 5.4% this year after an earlier forecast of a 3.4% contraction. But also, South Africa's economy is expected to shrink by 8% in this year, 2020, and that's a bigger contraction when you compare to the 5.8% forecast, which was predicted in April. Meanwhile, the forecast for global economy was also slashed by the fund to a possible 4.9% contraction in gross domestic product, lower than the 3% fall it predicted in the month of April. Let's head to the stock markets, where sentiments were negative today. Investors lost 49 billion naira due to heavy sell-off. But Chimeze Obiwago has the details for us.
Thank you and welcome to the Stock Market Report. I was actually expecting some pleasant surprise today when I saw the market open in the green, but that didn't happen. It appears the bulls are not in a hurry to take over the market. In fact, I really felt so bad because the index was up until after midday when Seplat saw a sell down. As you know, Seplat has been in the green since this week, and so today, investors decided to take profit on it. And now, see how that battered the oil and gas sector, 4.11% down. The consumer goods sector is also a culprit here, no thanks to Guinness and Nigerian breweries. You must also understand that this sector is suffering from the effect of the coronavirus lockdown, so investors are more cautious of what the half-year results from this sector would look like. Generally, the market has not seen a commensurate bargain hunting relative to the bearish trend, and this is also reflected on the volume and value done daily, which has remained very low. While I hate to be pessimistic, traders say we may not see any significant turnaround until perhaps the half-year results are released. But you never can tell. Market is dynamic. The game might change as early as tomorrow. And that was the Stock Market Report. I'm Chimeze Obi Iwago.
That's Business News tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Anne Mwawado. The rest of the news at 10 continues now with Amarachi.
Thanks a lot, Anne. Still ahead on the news at 10, United States, states of New York, New Jersey and Connecticut ask visitors from COVID-19 hotspots in the country to quarantine for 14 days before getting access. We'll have that and more from our London studio in Around the World in 5. Welcome back. Officials of the U.S. states of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut say visitors from COVID-19 hotspots will need to quarantine for 14 days when they arrive. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo says he does not want visitors from other states bringing COVID-19 in with them because they had worked very hard to get the viral transmission down. Here's Simon Pusey with more international news in Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Latin America now accounts for 100,000 of the more than 477,000 COVID-related deaths worldwide. The World Health Organization says the number of coronavirus infections in Brazil could be much higher than is being reported, as the lack of testing means many cases are likely going undetected. In Peru, more than 220 police officers have died with the virus. The government says most of them are thought to have contracted the virus while enforcing quarantine measures. Meanwhile, a doctor in Honduras has given an update on President Juan Orlando Hernandez, who was taken to hospital with coronavirus last week. He said the president had trouble breathing and was in a delicate condition. His wife has also contracted the virus. A 7.5 magnitude earthquake has rattled large areas of southern and central Mexico, killing at least 5 people. Mexico's National Seismological Service said the quake struck the southern state of Oaxaca at 10:29 a.m. local time, but it was felt more than 400 miles away in the capital, Mexico City. No major buildings appeared to have been severely damaged in the capital, while panicked residents fled to the streets. The quake set off a tsunami warning with a radius of 1,000 kilometers on the Pacific coasts of Mexico and Central America, including Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras. The Arab League has called for a ceasefire in Libya, where the warring sides are mobilizing near the main oil region in the country. The Arab League Secretary General said that Libya is passing through a dangerous turn in the course of its conflict. Egypt announced its army may directly intervene in Libya, and France said it will not tolerate any further Turkish involvement there. The highly anticipated memoirs of John Bolton, the former national security advisor to the Trump administration, has debuted in bookstores in the US. In the book, Mr. Bolton accuses the president of seeking China's help to win re-election, but also reveals plans to invade Venezuela and Mr. Trump's alleged approval of China's re-education camps. The administration had sought a restraining order and a preliminary injunction against the publication, saying it contained classified information and threatened national security. India and China have finally agreed to take measures to ease tensions following a clash last week over a disputed stretch of land, which left 20 Indian soldiers dead. Chinese Foreign Ministry described recent media reports of 40 Chinese casualties in the conflict as fake news, while India's foreign minister called for respect of international laws in a peace talk brokered by Russia. Neither side has given details on how any de-escalation will take place, but both parties said discussions would continue. Russia's President Vladimir Putin has attended a military parade marking the 75th anniversary of the Soviet Union's victory over Nazi Germany in World War II. Hurrah! The parade was postponed from May the 9th because of COVID-19, but critics said it was irresponsible to go ahead now. The Kremlin dismissed that, saying new daily infections are on the wane, even though they are still in the thousands. The parade has taken place on the eve of a nationwide vote that could extend President Vladimir Putin's rule until 2036. Vote counting has begun in Malawi's presidential election rerun, which has been seen as a test of Africa's ability to tackle ballot fraud. The vote was conducted after Malawi's judiciary overturned February's narrow victory for President Peter Mutharika over systematic and grave irregularities. According to local reports, the leader of the opposition party is currently ahead in the polls. The government in Eswatini has announced it will bring in a ban on the sale of alcohol from July the 1st in an effort to contain the spread of coronavirus. Swazi Prime Minister Ambrose Mandvulo Dlamini said the measure will be introduced after a surge of coronavirus cases in the last 2 weeks. The government did not elaborate on why they believe alcohol is one of the leading causes of the spread of coronavirus. The country has recorded 643 cases of COVID-19 so far and 6 deaths. And finally, with coronavirus masks rapidly being used every day, a Belgian businessman has decided it was time to give them a human face. To fulfill this need, Charles de Bellefoy has started producing masks that have the lower half of the wearer's features printed on them. He came up with the idea after Belgium's COVID-19 lockdown reduced to zero the revenue of his company, which offers portable photo booths for professional events. The mask with the individual's lower half of the face printed on is sold via mail and can be washed up to 8 or 10 times. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
And on to sports news. The New York City Marathon scheduled for November this year has been cancelled because of the coronavirus pandemic. Elsewhere, organizers also announced that the Berlin Marathon, which is one of the world's big 6 races, will not take place this year because of Germany's ban on public gatherings of more than 5,000 people until October the 24th. Majority of the clubs in Nigerian Professional Football League have voted for the 3rd time to end the 2019-2020 season after a meeting with the Nigerian Football Federation and the league management company. 17 out of the 20 clubs decided that Plateau United and Rivers United will represent Nigeria in next season's African Champions League, while Enyimba will feature in the Confederation Cup. And that's it on sports. It's back to you, Amarachi.
Thanks, Jeff. President Muhammadu Buhari today backed the Victor Gyadom-led APC. The president is to attend the party's National Executive Committee meeting called by Mr. Gyadom tomorrow. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Amarachi Ubani. Good night.